Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to your New York Islanders franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, if you did not catch it, we simulated the rest of the season, and this team had a really good year. I'm kind of worried that the playoffs might be a little bit short just because we had such a good season, but hopefully that's not the case. We did finish 58 and 24, and we were top 5 in pretty much every single category. As you can see, we were third in goals for with 3.65 per game. We were second in goals against with 2.63 goals against per game, fourth on the power play at 21.4%, and we were second on the penalty kill at 87.3%. So very good stats across the board, and very much hoping that obviously that continues into this postseason. But like I said, there is a little bit of a cause for concern because we are going up against Montreal, who looks like maybe more of a cheese team. Now, what's kind of interesting, our team was so good offensively, but we didn't really have a standout player in terms of offense. Like, we only had technically one guy, or two guys, I guess, technically over point per game. Everybody else was below point per game, so we just have still really good depth scoring on this team, and that has been definitely a big factor in why this team has had some really good seasons over the last number of years. Like, technically, if we sort by goals, everybody on this roster picked up more than 10 goals except for a couple of defensemen. Carlson came close. If he would have played a full season, he probably would have hit one over 10 goals. Holmstrom, maybe if he would have played a full season, he could have hit over 10 goals. Both those guys were in and out of the lineup. Gustafsson's more of a DFD. Ulanov's not much of a goal scorer on a fourth line role. And then other defenders like Schaefer and Fisher don't score really that much either. So in general, we just scored a lot of goals this season from a lot of different guys. And then to boot, we did also have some solid goaltending numbers. Solovyov had a 906 with 9 shutouts this season, and Menard finished with a 907 in 1 shutout. So Menard had a pretty good second half of the season after he didn't start off the year that well. So some pretty solid goaltending numbers and then very good offensive numbers, I would say. And yeah, I'm excited to see what this team could do this postseason. But like I said, we are going to be running into Montreal. And Montreal could honestly be a cheese team and knock us out in the first round. They are an okay looking roster, but you can see their record was 42, 32, and 8. And if we look at their individual stats, their offense was really bad again this season. I think last time we played them in the postseason, if I remember right, their offense wasn't super good either, but they were a good defensive team, as you can see, just like during this season. They also had really bad special teams during the regular season, so I am worried that the Habs might find their offense, and that might be a little bit of a problem for us because they were still a good defensive team during the season. So will be interesting to see who ends up winning the series and how many games, if it does go to like 7 games. I could definitely see them still finding a way to win this series for some weird reason, but I hope that our guys have learned from the mistakes of the past, and this is the year that we could find a way to win a Stanley Cup. But anyways, before we get into this first round matchup against the Montreal Canadiens, let's get into your guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll get into this first round and see if we can maintain what we did during the regular season. So the first and only comment is from Sound Otaku, who says, you're going to be a first-round exit with a frowny face, and I really hope not, because like I said, this team doesn't have a lot of window of opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. Like, after the season, we only have like 8 seasons left of this, and we still have no Stanley Cup to show for it, which is quite surprising, because we've been such a good regular season team, but this team just hasn't been able to find it in the postseason, because if we go to somebody that's been here for quite a while at this point, so somebody like, let's go with Houghton, for instance, and look at his playoff numbers over the years, you could see way back in 2035, so this is only like 6 years ago, we were a first-round exit. Year after that, I guess that was the year we went to the Stanley Cup Finals and lost. Then we have a round where we were a first-round exit again. Then we got to the conference finals, and nothing to show for it. So in the last 5 years, we've had some really deep runs, but we just can't find ways to get that Stanley Cup victory. So hopefully this is the year we do get ourselves a Stanley Cup, and we're not a first-round exit like we were in 2037 or 2035. But this team has had some really good runs recently, but it's just we haven't been able to find those extra 4 wins to get us to the final, or those extra 4 wins to basically get us that Stanley Cup win. So we'll see if this is the year. Hopefully it is. I will show you guys what Montreal's looking like again, just in case you forgot, and then we'll get into this matchup. But like I said, they do have some pretty solid pieces, but they definitely, to me at least, they're a bit more of a cheese team. Their defensive core has dropped off a little bit since we played them last, but this is what their team looks like, and you can see they have some solid pieces. Like their top six has guys above 85 overall and all that, but like their third line, for instance, I'd say is a little bit on the weaker end. I mean, Fraze, I guess, technically makes up for that on the fourth line. So from an offensive standpoint, it's pretty solid. Their defensive core maybe needs some more work, but their top two pairings really good. Lane Hudson was really good a couple years ago. Now he's down to an 81. So aside from that, the defensive core is okay, I would say. And then from a goaltending perspective, they do have a really solid goaltender. So I guess maybe the difference in the series will be if Somers could play good against Solovyov or not. I'm hoping obviously Solovyov could play better because Solovyov has been a good playoff goalie in the past. If he could play good and we could still play our good defensive game and still score a decent chunk of goals, this should be an easy series for our team. But then again, I've said that before and we've lost. So let's hope that we can string together 4 wins, get ourselves to the second round, and hopefully we are the favorite going forward. So let's get to game number 1 in home ice, and then we'll see if we could obviously win on the road as well. It'll be imperative that we win both away and home games if possible, because obviously you can't win a Stanley Cup if you're just winning home games. So, I mean, technically I guess you can in a way, because we have... we should have home ice advantage for most of this playoffs unless we play, I think it was... Who was the best team? I think it was Vegas. If we end up playing Vegas in the Stanley Cup Finals, they might have home ice. So let's see what happens. Game number 1 in our own building. Can we build off a great regular season and keep it rolling? First period, game 1. 2-0 Habs. Oh my goodness. Is it going to really be like this again? Because I feel like this game is scripted to a point. God damn it, man. So we give up 2 goals in the first 8 minutes of the game, and we're being outshot 10-5 to a team that barely made it into the playoffs. This reminds me of when we got knocked out by them the last time we played them. I really hope that this team's able to find itself in the second period, because if it's not, this might end up being one of those series that we're going to be very disappointed in again. Like, if we don't find a way to win a Stanley Cup this year, I honestly don't know what this team needs. Like, are we too good of a team on paper that we're just not simulating good in the playoffs or something like that? Like, maybe we need to be worse? I honestly don't even know. But anyways, Franzen and Ermi with their goals, shots 10-5. Down by a pair of goals, can we start to crawl back into this? Like, if we could get at least 1 goal back in the second, we could still tie this one up. But if we stay in the same position, or if we go down 3 or 4-0, this game is probably over at that point. So, second period. There we go. There's a good response. That's what I was kind of hoping for, but I didn't think it was going to. Carlton makes it 2-1, so that's nice to see Carlton scoring, because Carlton obviously was a guy that was just put into the lineup late into the season, or actually once there was an injury. Or wait, no, it wasn't even an injury. We put him in. I don't know, there was actually an injury and we put him in, because we put him in for Holmstrom basically, and then when Holmstrom returned, we put him in as a replacement for the guy we signed or picked up as a trade acquisition for the top 6 pairing. So Carlton scores first, Koroliuk didn't score, so we're getting a little bit of depth scoring, which is good. And both those goals were on different goaltenders too, which is interesting. So I wonder if Somers went down due to injury for them in this game or not. Shots are 17-16 in favor of us, so that's a much better second period. Can we find a way to get our first lead of the night in the third period underway? Come on, boys. Let's get that next one. We've been getting some depth scoring, just need to get that top 6 going a bit too. Got to get Crane on board or something like that. Maybe Houghton. Penalty kill here in the third, and we kill it off. Nicely done. Final few minutes of this third period. Are we going to be potentially going to an overtime in game 1? And the answer is yes, we are. So an overtime in game 1 is not necessarily what I was hoping for, but obviously it's a lot better than us losing just fully in regulation like it looked like it was going to be after the first period. Shots are 29-25 in favor of us. It's been a good goaltending matchup so far, I guess, even though they technically have had 2 different goalies in this game. So I still don't know if Somers actually got injured or not. Hopefully he did, because that could help us, but also we could get cheesed by Coco instead. So can we find a way to get that lead in overtime? Who wants to be the hero for us? Let's call on a random player on this team. Who do I think will score? I'm going to say CL Fido. I think CL Fido has a goal in him for some reason. Even though he's more of a playmaker, that's just my prediction randomly for this overtime. Let's see what happens. OT underway. Come on, boys. You got this. Do it for our fans. We're on home ice for a reason. Let's get this W. Let's get this W. Oh man, it's going so slow. It's kind of nerve-wracking a little bit here. Come on, Cielfito and the team. Come on, Crane. I know you have goals in you too, buddy. All you guys should have goals in you. And we are going to double overtime in game one. This has been quite the first game of the series. Like, we still have a lot of series to go after this, so both teams might be a little bit tired going into game two, but shots are 38-31 in favor of us. Both teams' goaltenders have been doing well. It's anybody's game going into this overtime. Can we find a way to win it? We know it's going to end really quickly. Is Cielfito or somebody else going to show up on this team? Come on, boys. Let's get her done. They haven't scored since the first period, so Solovyov's been good too, but who wants to be the hero? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Please, please, please. Yes, let's go. We win in double overtime on the first shot of double overtime. It's Giordano scoring on Coco, and we come back from a 2-0 deficit. That's a nice little game there. Obviously, the first period wasn't good, but since then, it's been very good. Final shots 39-31 in favor of us, and we win 3-2. Since that first period as well, we had like 34 more shots. So our team definitely found its chances after that first period. So Carlton from Karain and Ulanov. Then we had Korolyuk from Houghton. And the game-winning goal is Giordano from Ragnarsson and Cielfito. So Cielfito does pick up a point on the OT winner. And there was only one penalty that entire game. Damn. That's actually kind of impressive. And it was to us. But still, that means both teams were really clean in that first game. Interesting. You think with it going to double overtime that there would be a lot more penalties, but there wasn't. So Solovyov gets first star of the game, Giordano second star, and Nurmi for them. Let me actually go to their stats for a second here and look at the goalie numbers. Yeah, see, Somers played 29 minutes, and he allowed that one goal. And Coco played the next 51 minutes and allowed 2 goals and ended up losing. So I wonder if Somers went down with an injury or if he's actually just like temporarily injured in that game. Like he's going to come back for game 2 or not. We definitely got to take a look at that because that could impact the rest of the series completely if that is the case. Fisher's losing morale to ice time, which is not great because he's the one that I have out of the lineup because of Carlton. So he's just going to have to keep losing morale unless we take Carlton out at some point. But let me go to the Habs lines again for a second and see if Somers is actually out or not. Let's hope that he is, but at the same time, it doesn't really make maybe much of a difference. And let's see, he is still in that. Okay, so I guess he just got injured in game and he is returning for game 2. Kind of sucks, but at the same time, we still won game 1, so I'm okay with it. Alright, so a pretty good first game. Like I said, the first period was the only bad period probably of that game for our team. So let's see if we can have a better start to this game and then just do what we did in the other periods going forward. So game number 2 on home ice. Can we find a way to take a 2-0 series lead headed to Montreal? That would be fantastic if we could. First period, game number 2. It's 1-0 Montreal. So for the second time in a row, we are trailing after 1. Not ideal, but at least it's only 1 goal. We did come back from a 2-goal deficit last game, so 1 goal is not that bad, but it was a power play goal from Ulster East. Last game, we didn't give them a lot of power play opportunities, only the ones, so I don't know how much penalties we took in that period, but I hope that we're not running away and being a little bit too physical in this game. Shots 15-10 in favor of the Habs, so they're out shooting us after the first period again as well. Can we find a way to tie it up and have a good second period just like last game? Second period, still 1-0 Habs, not good. So maybe we did want Somers to be hurt because Somers so far has been the better goaltender in the series because Coco came in for them and allowed the last 2 goals of that game. So if Coco didn't have to come in, would Montreal have won of game 1 is the question. Because right now it seems like Somers is pretty locked in here in game 2. Shots are 27-24 in favor of the Habs. We're going into the third period down by a goal. Can we find a way to tie this one up? The next goal is imperative for our team. Let's see what happens. Third period underway. Come on, boys. Let's get that next one. Let's get that next one. We're getting our chances. Just got to find a way to beat that goaltender. We don't score on that power play. That's unfortunate. Penalty kill. Got to kill it off, please, boys. And they get a goal right afterwards. It's Elaine Hudson. Makes it 2-0. Final 5 minutes. We have another power play, but we do not score. And unfortunately, the Habs are going to take one of our home games by a score of 2-0 as they shut us out. Final shots 35-34 in favor for us. So we outplayed them, but we just could not find a way to score on Somers. And so far, Somers has been a really good playoff goalie again, which is not ideal. We were definitely a lot more aggressive in this game. Definitely a lot more penalties called in this one. There was a high-sticking double minor that we didn't score on, which is unfortunate too. So definitely got to start scoring on the power play if we can. Yeah, Solovyov, good numbers again. Menard actually played 2 minutes, so that's actually a little bit worrisome. I don't know if that means that Solovyov got injured, but at least Menard's a good goaltender too. But Montreal's goaltending from Somers has been really good so far, like I said. Like, he only allowed 1 goal technically last game. Coco led in the other 2, so we might need to make some adjustments to try and get our offense flowing a little bit better, but right now I think it's okay. At least we won one of our home games, because if we lost one of both of them, I would have been a little bit more pissed off, but just got to find a ways to win games in Montreal if we can. Win at least one of the 2 games, and then this might be, like I said, a 7-game series, but looks like Solovyov wasn't injured, so that's at least good news. But right now it seems like it's going to be a goaltending showdown between Solovyov and Somers. Alright, so not a bad game too, but our offense wasn't there, so we've had a couple of scoreless periods actually in this series, because this last game, 3 periods obviously, and in game 1 we had a scoreless first period, so 4 of the 6 periods we've played, or 8 periods technically, I guess, because of playoff, actually maybe even more than that, maybe like 5 periods technically, because we didn't score in one of the overtime periods, so a lot of the periods in this series so far at this point, we do not have goals to show for it, so that's a little bit worrisome right now. But the fact that we're tied 1-1 is okay at least. So the team could obviously make up for those mistakes here in Game 3. Alright, so let's head to Montreal for Game 3. See if we could find a way to take a game in their building at least. But like I said, if our team's offense is not doing too good in this game again, maybe we need to look into some sort of adjustments. We do have a top 6 that's kind of interchangeable, where we can move guys into the first or second line. So that's probably where I'd work a little bit on, because a lot of the top 6 guys haven't done too much at this point. It's been more the depth that showed up in that first game. So anyways, let's get to Game 3, see if we could find a way to win on the road and take back that series lead. First period, Game 3. 1-0 us. Okay, so for the first time, we do have the lead after the first period, and that's the first time we've scored in the first period of this entire series, so that's good. Shots are 12-5 in favor of us as well, as we do get a short-handed goal from Bigris. So it's a big goal from Bigris. We always know that he shows up in these big moments because of his last name, but good first period. Let's find a way to have a good second period and maybe do to them what they did to us last game. Second period. 3-0 us. Okay, good second period. Crane scores on the power play, and Ulanov scores with 6:13 left. Shots are 27-11 in favor of us, so we're pretty much dominating this game. So this is a good way to start off the road games in Montreal, so I like this a lot. Let's just lock this down in the third period and take back that series lead. Let's see what happens. Third period underway. Definitely liking this game a lot more, so this might be the best game we've had of this series at this point, because obviously Game 1 was maybe a little bit of a toss-up with how we started off that game. But Game 2 not so good. Lindsay makes it a 3-1 game, breaking Solovyov's shutout. That's unfortunate. Final few minutes here of this game, still up by a pair of goals. And we are going to lock it down nicely defensively. We outshoot them 34-21. And we have taken back our series lead. So we're now up 2-1 going into Game 4. That's a nice win there on the road. Very nice win. So Biggers from Makinen, Crane from Makinen and Sealfido, and Ulanov from Howden and Korolyuk. Nice, not too bad. Let's take a look at some of these individual stats. Any minus people on the team? Only a couple, Crane, Bjorkstrand, and Schaefer. It's not a huge loss. And then goaltending, Solovyov has been good in every single game so far of the series. So I think Solovyov has kind of made his name in these postseasons recently. Like, I feel like he's actually a pretty good playoff goalie for the most part. And for instance, if he doesn't play good in a couple games in a row, we do have a goaltender that's also had some good playoff success before with the LA Kings and Menard, so hopefully that will give us a little bit of a boost. But anyways, Makinen first star, Solovyov second star, and Bigris the third star. So we have taken a 2-1 series lead. Hopefully we can ride that momentum into Game 4. Obviously our offense isn't insanely good at this point, because we only technically have 6 goals in 3 games, which is an average of 2 goals a game, but we are still playing that very good defensive style, which I was hoping for. We allowed 2 goals in Game 1, 2 goals in Game 2, and 1 in Game 3, so 5 goals against, 6 goals for. It's definitely a close series. I definitely still think this could go 7 games, so Let's see if we could find a way to maybe string together multiple wins in a row. So let's keep the lineup the exact same since we just won again. Let's see if we could take a 3-1 series lead after we took a 3-1 win in the last game. Come on, boys. Let's get that done. Let's have another good first period as well if possible. First period, game 4. 1-0 us. Good start again, just like last game. Crane scores with under 5 minutes to go. Shots are 13-9 in favor of us, so pretty much the exact same thing as last game. And like I said, Solovyov still has been very locked in. It also could be our defensive stats are a lot better. And also, like I said, we do have players that are better fit for the top 6 pairing and all that. So maybe that's helping us out a little bit, is kind of optimizing our lineup a little bit more so. So it's a 1-0 game after 1. Can we find a way to keep this lead intact going into the third period potentially if we do have a good second? Maybe get a couple insurance markers just to play it safe. Second period. Still 1-0 us. Okay, damn, our team's defensive play has been fantastic. Obviously, our offense has been kind of like a little bit lower than I'd like. But if we find that next round, that's okay too. Shots are 26-16 in favor of us. It's a 1-0 game. It's anybody's game still at this point. Can we find a way to lock this game down in the third? Maybe get an insurance marker just to make it a little bit easier for us to breathe. Let's see what happens in this third period. Come on, boys. Get that next one. The next goal is pretty imperative. Crane scores. Let's go. Crane's been good as of late. 2-0 game. That's a pretty big goal at this point in the game. And we're still out shooting him badly. Mishenko scores his first career playoff goal to make it a 3-0 game. Let's go. That's a nice goal from the youngster. Nice to see him contribute. Final few minutes, and we are going to pull off a shutout in Montreal, and we're still playing fantastic defensive hockey. We're not scoring a ton of goals still. We're like scoring 3 goals a game at most, but this team has been really good in the defensive end, and Solovyov is going to have insanely good numbers after this first round if we do in fact win it. But we have taken a 3-1 series lead. We win both games in Montreal. Final shots 41-22. Let's freaking go. That's a really nice game for this team. So Crane from Bjorkstrand again. So those two hooking up multiple times. And then Mishenko scores his first career playoff goal from Houghton and Tatar. Nice. Not necessarily a flashy first round so far from this team, but like I said, it's been a good one. Solovyov, though, literally probably has like a 960, 950 save percentage in this round, at least, my guess. Crane the first star, Solovyov second star again, Bjorkstrand the third star. It feels like our team also doesn't give up a ton of shots so far to the Habs. Like, these last few games, I think we've given them like 20-something shots in each game. So definitely we are dictating the flow of these games, which is really good to see. Have they been all close games? Pretty much, but oh man, I feel bad for this guy. Nathaniel Carlson has been injured. He will be back for next round, which is at least good, I think. Maybe miss a little bit of next round, but he's been injured with an injured groin, which means Fisher is going to be getting a chance to play. Like I said, Fisher is also a good fit for that top 6 pairing, but Carlson's going to be out of the lineup, unfortunately, just because of that injury. But it looks like he should be back next round, or he'll be back for Game 7 if we do end up losing multiple in a row, which hopefully isn't going to be the case. Hopefully Fisher's like a seamless fit on that top 6 pairing. I know he has a good fit for that top 6, so I think he's actually almost a better fit for that pairing than Carlson is, but we'll see how Fisher does in his first playoff game of the year while Carlson is getting healthy from that groin injury. All right, so it's been a good start to this series for our team. Obviously, Game 2 is not an ideal one, but the last 2 games have been fantastic. Only allowing you a goal through 2 games is awesome, so let's see if we can win on home ice again and win the series and close it out. See what happens. See if Fisher could fit like a glove on that top 6 pairing. Maybe he has a goal in him because he was a decent scorer when he did play some games. So we'll see if he could show up in this one. First period, Game 5. 1-0 us. Third straight game, we've had the lead after the first period. So our team is at least figuring out the first period a little bit. As Ragnarsson scores his first goal of the series. So kind of crazy that some of these guys haven't scored a lot. But I think we definitely have the offense in us that eventually maybe we'll have a round where he starts scoring a lot more goals. Shots are 12-6 in favor of us as well, so pretty dictating flow in that first period. Can we find a way to keep this lead intact in the second period? Second period? 2-2. That's probably our worst period in a while. Kalen Addison, I think, or not Kalen Addison. Kalen Addison's the real player. I don't remember what this guy's first name was, but he makes it a 1-1 game. Hudson scores less than a minute later, so that's probably the roughest patch for Solovyov in quite some time. Then Fisher does score. Of course he does. So Fisher, the defenseman, comes into the lineup and makes it a 2-2 game. Shots are 27-16 in favor of us. So this is definitely Solovyov's worst game of this entire series at this point. But it is a tie game. So we are still dictating the flow. Just that little hiccup over those 30 seconds or whatever has this game tied. So we got to be careful here. Don't want to give them too much going into this third period. So let's see if we can find a way to get that lead and win the series. Third period underway. Power play immediately for us to start the third. They get a power play goal apparently though. And then they score again. 2 quick goals, 24 seconds apart. As Solovyov is having a tough time here, which is not ideal. Because his first few games of the series have been fantastic. Oh man, are we going to lose multiple home games? Looks like it. We are going to be going to... Oh, maybe not necessarily. Bjorkstrand pulled us within one, but it was too late. We outshoot them 42-23. But we are going to be going to a Game 6 back in Montreal. That's a tough one, man. Because I think for the most part, we had an okay game going. It's just we had a couple quick hiccups in net. Like the Addison goal and the Hudson goal were really like 30 seconds apart. And then those 2 third period goals were like 24 seconds apart. So we kind of were on our heels for a little bit of the game, and we end up losing. Ragnarsson from Sealfido and Giordano. Fisher from Bjorkstrand and Makinen. And Bjorkstrand from Kazanov and Crane. So Kazanov picks up his first career playoff point. Any badly minus people in that game? Let's see. Only a couple -1s, not a huge issue. And then from a goaltending perspective, yeah, Solovyov definitely had his roughest game. And once again, we held them to under 30 shots in that game, but it was definitely a rough time for Solovyov. So hopefully he finds himself in the next game, because if he doesn't, Game 7 in our home building might be a tough one. It might be. I really hope that we don't just collapse and lose 3 straight games here, because I'd actually be kind of pissed off about that. But it's been a pretty close series in a lot of these games, so it could still probably go either way. But we might make some adjustments after that game, as if more people are losing morale due to ice time on this team. That's another problem with this team, is everybody's wanting ice time. Alright, so let's go to edit lines and see if there's anything we could potentially do. Like I said, I haven't been necessarily mad at our team, but I do need to figure out how we could get the offense flowing better. Guys like Biggerus have been solid, though. He's taken a lot of penalties, actually, for that matter. Like, everybody on this team should be pretty much plus. The only minus I just saw was Leahy. I know we don't have the best offensive numbers right now, but maybe we want to make some sort of an adjustment. Let me go to the defensive pairings. Has there been any bad defensive pairings so far? 7 penalty minutes from Tatar. Damn, Tatar still takes a lot of penalties. No bad defensive pairings, really. Goalies, obviously, Solovyov's been good. I almost feel like I don't want to make any adjustments. It was only just 1 loss, and it was just because of 2 quick hiccups. You know what? I'm not going to make any adjustments. I feel like I probably should, because if we lose this game, we go to Game 7, but I feel like our team was pretty good in that last game. Except for, like I said, those 2 quick hiccups of goals. It really definitely deflated us. So hopefully Solovyov has a good game here. If he doesn't, maybe he needs to be out of the lineup for Game 7. It's tough to say, because he definitely earned it throughout those first 4 games, though. Yeah, I don't really know, man. I don't really know. Alright, so let's keep the team the exact same for this game. It's another game in Montreal. So far, we are 2-0 in Montreal, so... Can we find a third win and get ourselves to the next round, or are we going to go to a Game 7 scenario? Come on, boys. Please give me a win here. Don't lose 2 in a row, because or else I don't really know what adjustments I'd make for a Game 7. First period, game number 6. 1-1, I'll take it. It's better than being down by a goal after first. Holmstrom opens the scoring, then they scored late from Zach Benson. All right, shots are 16-7 in favor of us. So Solovyov off to a little bit of a rough start again in this game, which is not ideal. I don't know if it's because he's played too many games consecutively or what, but he really started the series off good. In these last 4 periods, he hasn't been that goalie. So I hope he has a better second period. But we haven't been giving up a lot of shots at all in the series. We've been definitely dictating most of the series, but their goaltender's definitely giving them a chance in a lot of these kind of games. Anyways, 1-1 after one. Can we find a way to get that lead back in the second period? Second period? 4 to us. That's a fantastic period. That might give us the win in potentially, and the exact same result potentially as the series 2. Bjorkstrand makes it a 2-1 game. Crane makes it 3-1 with a power play goal. Ferraz makes it 3-2, but a big goal from the youngster, his first career playoff goal from Kazanov, restores that 2-goal advantage. Shots are 26-21, so they definitely had a good second period in terms of chances, but that's definitely a good period for Solovyov, only giving up the 1 goal on, I think, like 14 shots. So we have a 2-goal lead going into the third period. Can we close out the series in the third period? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. You got this. I believe in us. We are a good defensive team. Let's just show that in this third period, and we got this. Mishenko scores his second career playoff goal. It's a 5-2 game. The Dallas Stars guys that we got from Anton Ferndell's trade have definitely helped out a lot in these last few games. And your New York Islanders are going to win 3 games on the road in Montreal and find themselves into the second round. So a nice little series victory there. I was a little bit worried about getting cheesed, but our team managed to have mostly good games, a couple hiccup of games. But I think for the most part, that series was definitely one that we pretty much dominated in for the most part. And we found our offensive game in that last one quite a bit too. Final shots 36-28. We win 5-2. And yeah, that was a nice little victory. Great second period that definitely set us up for success. So Holmstrom from Korolyuk and Mishenko, Bjorkstrand from Crane and Makinen, Crane from Giordano and Cialfito, Kazanov from Biggers and Leahy, and then Mishenko from Korolyuk and Tatars. So we haven't had to make any line adjustments yet, but our team has been able to win a series, which is good. And then plus minuses again. A couple guys were minus, Fisher included in that, but Solovyov definitely returned to form in that last one. Nice. 3 stars of the game, Crane, Mishenko, and Solovyov. Let's go. Let's go, boys. Let's freaking go. All right. So we didn't get cheesed. Let's take a look at some stats after that first round, and then we will obviously see who we're going up against in round 2, which looks like it is going to be the New York Rangers potentially, because I think Saturn Otaku is saying that it's a series that's right next to yours. So I think we're going to be literally playing against Gagarin in the next round, which is not good, because that Rangers team is quite scary, especially their top line, if I'm not mistaken. So that's likely what's going to be the next round matchup. But let's take a look at our player stats anyways after round 1. Hopefully we could find a way to beat Garen in that next round, because yeah, he could definitely dictate the series if our team's not good defensively and all that. But in terms of player stats, let's just go by forwards. You can see Crane on 7 points in 6 games. Crane was great, had 4 of our goals, which definitely he was the best goal scorer on his team, doubled up the next closest. A good first round from Bjorkstrand, 5 points in 6 games. Definitely a lot better than I'd say some of his regular seasons. Korolyuk had 4 points, which is good for a fourth line kind of guy. Makinen on 4 points, Cialfito 4 points. Like, we had pretty good depth scoring for the lack of goals that we scored in that series. Like, everybody on the forward group had a point, at least, or 2 or more points, I should say, except for Leahy. So maybe Leahy was a little bit disappointing, but I think he could find his offense in the next round for sure. If he doesn't, obviously, like I said, he might be a guy that we look to trade away at some point. But right now, it looks like the depth scoring from the regular season is carrying over. From a defensive standpoint, Houghton on 3 assists. We had Tatar on 2 assists. Fisher picked up a goal in only 2 games, which is great to see. Carlson had a goal in 4 games before his injury. He will be back for next round. Holmstrom a goal. Schaefer had nothing. Gustafson had nothing, but they were good in plus minus. And then from a goaltending perspective, Solovyov rocked a .930 save percentage through those 6 games. He was fantastic, except for obviously Game 5, I'd say. And then Menard only played 2 minutes, but he made 1 save and didn't allow any goals. So shout out to our goaltenders, shout out to our team. Good first round. The question is, obviously, is it the Rangers? And if it is the Rangers, can we beat them? Because the Rangers, like I said, have Garen. And Garen is obviously the best player in this franchise mode at the moment, I think. So it's kind of scary. But Carlson is going to be back, which is good. So we'll get him back into the lineup already. Kind of sucks that we have to scratch Fisher already, because I know he was complaining due to ice time. But there is a chance he could come back in if there is any more injuries down the road. So there we go. And will it be confirmed that it is going to be a Battle of New York or not? Let's see. The answer is yes, it is. Battle of New York. We have home ice advantage, of course, but the Rangers are a good team. The Rangers are a really good team. They finished 51-24-7 on the season, and we finished obviously 58-24. Let's take a look at how they simulated during the regular season compared to us and so far in the playoffs. Then we'll take a look at the roster. But they were the second best team in the Metropolitan Division, 7 points back of us. Goals for per game, they're better offensively, mainly due to Guerin, I think, and also Wallace. From a goals against perspective, we were much better defensively than they were. They do allow actually quite a bit of goals. Their power play was really good, better than ours, and penalty kill, we were better than them. So we are a better defensive team. They are a better offensive team. And then if we go to playoffs so far, let's do a little comparison on this as well. Let's actually just go Eastern Conference. That works. So they won their series in 5 games. They scored 3.6 goals for per game. Damn, their offense was fantastic. We were 2.83 goals for per game, which isn't terrible, but it definitely we could use a little bit more offense. Goals against per game, we are better defensively than they were. Power play percentage, they were better. And penalty kill percentage, we were better. So basically, it's the exact same thing as the regular season. We're a better defensive team. They're a better offensive team. So I honestly don't know what to make of that. From a lineup perspective, like I said, I think they don't have the best depth, if I remember right, at least the last time we might have played them. I know Guerin's going to be there, and Guerin could definitely carry that team, but I'm not too sure what else they got on that roster. So first line, Jason Guerin, the 98 overall. They also do have William Eklund on that top line, and Quincy Wallace, our former player, who randomly shot up in point production after he started playing with Guerin, has been fantastic for them over the last few years. So he's going to get the play on that top line with Guerin and Eklund. You also do have Elliot Copeland. Michael Misa's there now because he was on Columbus, I think, and got dealt at the deadline, if I remember right. Something like that. They also do have Jay Barnes. Third line has Brian Kavanaugh, Cole Reshny, and Raimo Hutada. And a fourth line of Vyacheslav Kagorodov, Brad Anderson, 19-year-old medium elite, who was drafted second overall only 2 years ago. Damn. It's kind of crazy that they drafted second overall that many years ago, considering they have Guerin. And they also do have AJ Boyer. But yeah, Jason Guerin's the one to watch out for. I showed you guys his regular season stats a couple episodes ago, or last episode, I guess, for that matter. 79 goals this year and 149 points. And he's back-to-back, or he's 3 straight years with 70 or more goals. This guy's cracked. Absolutely cracked. He's only 29 years old, too. Like, I don't know if he'll retire before the series ends, but he's an all-time Hall of Fame player right now. And you can see his point production in the playoffs, 118 points in 105 career playoff games. Does he have a Stanley Cup? I don't think so, right? No, he does. Okay, yeah, it was a while back, though. Back in 2034. But, yeah, this guy's really freaking good. From a defensive standpoint, they have Owen Zellweger. They also have Mika Nokalainen, Frederick Wheel, Boris Zadorov. I remember that name from somewhere. I just don't know where. Maybe it was the Rangers, or maybe it was Pittsburgh. Maybe he was a free agent at one point. I honestly don't even know. They also have Cristiano Pecker. Oh, I thought so. I knew I recognized that name. Cristiano Pecker was one of our picks before. Did I ever sign him? I don't remember. I did play him for a few years. Okay. It was just a long time ago. I barely remember this guy, but 3 years in the NHL team. We must have let him go to free agency or traded him to Montreal. Can't remember. But he played in Montreal for a while, and now he's been with the Rangers the last 3 years. So, former defensive prospect, Cristiano Pecker. So him and Wallace are on that team now. And then you also have Andrei Kovalev. So that defensive core is definitely not super strong. I could definitely see why they were more of an offensive-based team. And then from a goaltending perspective, they do actually have a pretty solid goaltender, Tero Tulola, the Finn, who's got a .922 save percentage in his playoffs right now. Had a .910 during the regular season. So he's pretty solid. So there's Tulola, and their backup is Andrei Frolov. So they have a good goaltending tandem, not the best defensive core, but they have a good offensive core. And then from a healthy scratch perspective, Nick Suzuki's there at 41 years old. I'm kind of surprised he's playing still in 2041. They also have Johnny Peterson. Why do I remember this dude? Was it on Utah? I don't know. This guy's been a journeyman, though, so maybe I've seen him in a different round. Don't remember for sure. And they also have Nikita Safronov. So that's an interesting team. Like I said, the main thing obviously we need to do if we want to win the series is contain Guerin and Wallace. If we contain them, we should be able to win. Now, their depth could randomly show up, which is a bit scary. But I definitely think we should be able to win this unless Guerin completely carries his team to victory, which he probably can do because they haven't been outside of the first round, it looks like, the last 2 years. I think he was injured in 2036, if I remember right, but his last 3 playoff runs, they've been out in the first round, so he hasn't had a deep run in quite some time. So I really hope that obviously we can contain him and get ourselves to that conference finals again. Because if we end up losing to this guy, it's going to be really tough to come back from that. $20 million cap hit. Damn, yeah, this guy's definitely the best player I think in the league at this point. Like, he's got to be the highest overall at least, right? You would think. Well, let's actually go to the player search thing and see if he's actually the highest overall player in the entire NHL. Let's see. And the answer to that is yes, he is. He's the highest overall player in the entire league at a 98 overall. You also have Davidson in Vegas, who's at 97. Everybody else is like 95 and below, but Guerin's definitely the best player in the NHL. So it is like going up against McDavid. You just don't know what he could do. He could literally willpower that team to a Stanley Cup win if he wanted. So a little bit scary there, but hopefully find a way to beat them. Aside from that, the final teams remaining in this playoff run, you also have Boston versus Toronto. In the West, you have Vegas versus Seattle, Chicago versus Colorado. So Sound Lion's still in there. We have some former players in Chicago, of course, because we made a trade with them last season. I feel like there's former players on a lot of these teams remaining, so that's a little bit scary just because obviously means we might have to go through some former players to win ourselves a Stanley Cup. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our New York Islanders franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the second round as we face off against Guerin in the New York Rangers in a Battle of New York. Should be an interesting matchup. I do think we have the better team on paper. But like I said, going up against the best player in the league, you honestly have no idea what to expect. Like, he could literally turn anybody on that team into a really good point producer. So we got to shut down Guerin, and we got to do it as well as possible. We got to do what we did in the first round, play good defensively, and I think we could definitely do it. So let's think that below, and I'll see you guys next time.